Okay, now we're going to hit the 3 qualify steps. Paying, budget, decision. They all have equal business posture in them. Every single one of them, if you're utilizing them correctly. So first of all, total cost of pain. If you and your people are not getting into the total cost of doing nothing, the pain funnel is only going to take you so far. I mean, you're giving that way too much pressure. Now, it's very powerful. But if you're not getting to that cost of doing nothing, and I personally have found a lot of the Sandler people aren't doing it either, just being honest. But if you can't get to what are they missing out on, now some things it's almost always emotional. Personally, I do not like any squeaking in my car. That just is like an irritant. Like, now anybody else kind of like that? You don't like this, any weird noises? And how many of you go, dude, turn up the radio. How hard is this? He's just like, that doesn't bother you at all. Well, if I'm in getting the little squeaky sounds out of a car business, actually my wife doesn't care about it. So, and she goes to that person, and I go to that person, it bugs the bejeebers out of me. She's like, I just turn up the radio, it's okay. Who's more qualified to work with? I mean, I am in this situation. It's my problem, but it bothers me, okay? So it could be nothing more than emotional, but for those of you that are calling on businesses, I would really, really attempt to find the financial costs, because why do they want to know our pricing? Because it's tangible. Why is it important for them to know what they're missing out on? Because it's tangible. So it's really important. And if it's not worth it to them, we both can walk away. It's okay. No one, I'm not superior, they're not, it's just not, it's just not worth it. But let's not belabor it, right? So, and if they're not willing to have these conversations with me or put homework together, or let's say it's someone who's reporting to you, and they're not willing to bring any data to the meeting with the problem that they're having, I would argue you probably shouldn't be working on it either. There's only so much time in the day. Now, I'm not saying you should keep them long term, but I'm just saying, what are we doing? So that's that co-laboring. Who has the problem? Usually, when a prospect comes to us, they do. If they're not willing to do homework or provide information, then no quote. It's that simple, but not easy. All right, let's go to the budget. So if we're just to be fair, if we're doing time, money, and resources on pain, we would need to do time, money, and resources on budget. Now, here's the thing a lot of us miss. There's a difference between a trusted advisor and a vendor. Can anybody just shout out what the difference is? What was it? Trust, okay. So a vendor is all about price, 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 price. A trusted advisor is, yeah, this does cost something. We're a for-profit business. But they bring up the time and resources before the prospect does. So, hey, this is not going to, obviously this costs money. You're not currently doing it now. But the other thing we haven't talked about is time and resources, or maybe even a commitment to this. And what I find is a lot of times that's more expensive than the money you pay. How about we talk about that first? Now, where did the power go when I brought up time and resources before they did, which is usually at the 11th hour? The power shifted where? To me. Now, I'm not trying to overpower them. I'm just trying to be equal or around the same. So if we don't talk about that sooner more than later, it tends to be later, and it's a lot more emotional, and then we're always surprised, right? So again, walk away power. What about an ROI? If the person you're helping isn't benefiting more than you are, we're already in crazy land. We're already in crazy land. Because does anybody remember the statistic that Dave Mattson said this morning of people who want a trusted advisor? It was pretty high. 86%. Now, I didn't know that before I got here. I mean, I did, but I didn't know that before I put this together. They're looking for this. So when you bring up things that could stink up the deal before they do, they trust you. Someone said that over there. Again, co-laboring. They might have to pull some reports. They might have to do something before we come up with that number. If they're not willing to do that, you have to really ask yourself, why am I continuing to spend time and not get paid on your problem? That's called enabling. When we're working together, co-laboring, co-creating, whatever you want to call it, we're empowering them. So there was the giver, the teller, and what was the third one? You may remember from that talk? What was it? Say it again. Sense maker. There's the giver and the teller, crazy land. There's the sense maker. So when you are co-laboring, co-creating, you're making sense of it. All right, now, if you're still transitioning through this, which upfront contracts allow us to do, upfront contracts are really good about establishing equal business posture because you're not getting way ahead of them, they're not getting way ahead of you, and if they try to get way ahead of you, you bring them back. Hey, before we do that, let's talk about this first. Would that be okay? Okay, so we're bringing them back.